Okay, you're going for the Class B this time, after our last time you were in.
Yes.
Business still good?
It's okay.
So, does anybody have any problems or any questions?
Move approval.
Second.
Oops. Do I have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now, we'll be voting on it tonight, so, what is it, 10 o'clock tomorrow? Anytime after 10?
Yeah, we've been working with them.
Yeah.
So
Well, but everybody that we okay. After 10, and what time do you mail them out?
mail them out?
Don't you mail
We
them
talk
out
about
if they don't
part-time
pick up?
licenses.
Oh,
Oh, anything.
He's talking
you
about.
pick it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of everybody that's gonna be here, so.
yeah.
If they don't-
After
if they don't pick it up-
10, 11, right around then, they can stop in and pick it up.
And then if they don't pick up, then we put it in the mail.
Yes.
This doesn't go into effect till when? July 1st?
Well, that's what it is. It's
18, 19,
it's
yes.
18, 19, yeah, it's July 1.
July 1st. Yeah, all these
Be
lists.
jumping the gun.
So there's no real hurry to get in there
No.
tomorrow.
Right.
But you're all inspections are knocked off, because you're pretty new opening, right?
Everything should be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be.
You know, you guys occupancy. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Lon Ortiz.
You're welcome.
I'll be in touch, Steve.
Have a seat. So you're moving down the block.
2 blocks.
2 blocks. That's why I said down the block.
He's moving into the second district where the action is.
You know, we heard about the connections. Let's see, you had no liquor license where you were before?
No,
Which
this
you-
is the first time.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
So you're buying the Sophia's building?
I try just to wait for the bank. It's supposed to be closing in next 15 days.
Okay, so you're switching from a tenant at your gas station location
Yes.
to being an owner. I'm always a big fan of that. So it shows that you have enough faith in the city and your business. I think your business is pretty good, right?
Yes.
I stop in there and it gets good reviews, I know that. So, and you're familiar with all the laws, you have to buy from a licensed wholesaler and a licensed bartender on the premises and all that stuff, yeah. So, I think it's gonna be a good addition to that corner. Sophia's was there a long time, get that, no business lasts forever, you know, so we're glad to have you. I'll move approval,
Subject to necessary required.
subject to necessary requirements.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Crystal Lefter? Labor? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, it's bartender license. Well, you don't have a place to work in?
Do you know where you're gonna be working, Crystal?
Just Jay's. Just Jay's.
Just Jay's? Because you left that empty on your application.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to, where I wanted to go. Is it just for that?
No, the license would be good anywhere in the city of West Allis. Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
So Crystal, the reason you're called in here today is because you have 2 OWIs on your record.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the convictions, one was in 12 and one was in 13. One in West Milwaukee, one in our city. Or no, one in West Allis, one in Milwaukee, I'm sorry.
They should have both been in West Dallas. I was coming from the same place.
So,
I was going through a divorce at the time. Not a good time in my life.
so the problem for us is that it shows that in those 2 occasions at least, that you made some bad choices for yourself. And so you're bartending now somewhere? You have bartending experience? or-
I have bartending experience just from like restaurants and that type of thing,
Okay.
but yeah.
So have you
I
had a
my
license?
provision. I have my provisional.
Okay, but have you had a license before in another community or?
Yeah, in Milwaukee.
Okay. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that on those 2 occasions, at least you made some bad choices for yourself. And we expect our licensed bartenders to make choices like that for their customers too. So, you know, and, you know, I mean, these are relatively recent, at least in my glacial timescale. But, I just want you to understand how important we think it is that bartenders be our allies, you know, when there's a problem. I guess I'm not really familiar, I've been into Just Jay's, it seems like it's really loud in there every time I go. Am I just, I'm
I
getting
don't know.
old?
I mean.
Yeah, but,
it's
and I guess the point is that
Turn down the hearing.
when there's a problem, we want you to be part of the solution. We want you to call, when the police come, we want you to be helpful, we want you to be able to identify the problems, patrons, whatever it is. There will be an occasion where there'll be a compliance check, where the police may send somebody in to, try to get you to serve somebody that's not of legal age. I guess I don't know what the policy is at Just Jay's, but typically, I mean, there's a hefty ticket for sure, and most places fire the bartender that serves the minor.
Correct.
So, some things you should be aware of, so.
I took my responsible service course.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman May.
I'd like to add, because there are 2 OWIs, this committee has historically, if there's a third OWI, has taken away a license
I do
or.
not drive. I take an Uber, a cab. I choose not to drive.
Sure.
Just,
Want you to know, everyone else to know, we've got 2 OWIs, the third one is pretty much a
No.
nail in the coffin.
and I don't drink when I'm working. I do obviously go out, but
Okay.
I'll
Okay,
move approval.
Second.
is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
thank you.
Thank you. Carl? Hello, this is a new application. You just heard the last one, you've got 2 OWIs also,
Mm-hmm.
plus a list of other things.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Rowe.
is your license still revoked?
As of now, yeah.
Thank you. And you got here how?
I have a friend that brought me.
Okay.
I don't have a car anymore.
You also had possession twice in 10 and 11. A lot of stuff on you. You should have put everything on there. All you put on there.
What did I miss?
Okay,
A lot.
so, all you put down is 2 OWIs. Oh, you have.
No, he's got the backside.
Oh.
He's got 3
Yeah, I
possessions
didn't
of
see
A
THC.
supplemental record.
Okay, my apologies. I didn't see
Mr.
that.
Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
if I could. So, you've had a license from the city of West Allis before,
Yes.
and you let it expire?
Well,
So this is a new license?
yeah.
Okay, because I'm looking here, we had you in here in '09 and '11 and '15
Mm-hmm.
for conversations about your past. And since the last time we were here in July, you added a drunk driving to your record. Like, I guess that's the disconcerting part for me, is that your drunk drivings are more recent, 14 and a 16, and you have, various other traffic and drug. I guess there's nothing really since 16, at least in the record that I'm seeing here. So, I just want you to take this more seriously, I guess. As Alderman May said, if you had 3 OWIs, we probably just would have told staff just to not bother.
Right.
We don't have a formal, it's not written in stone. But the fact that you have one in 14, and we had you in 15 to talk to you about your license, we gave you a license, and then you got another drunk driving in 16 after being warned about that kind of stuff. I guess, what were the circumstances of your most recent, was there any injuries involved, or
No,
were you coming from a wedding, or is it just?
I was coming from a friend's house.
Anybody else have anything? Do I have a motion?
And Mr. Chair, despite the issues here, I'll still move approval.
Do I have a second? All right, Chair will second. Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
No.
So, this has to go to the council, for the final vote, so.
Yeah, so after this recess, it'll go to the whole floor, and you may want to stick around for that, because some people may want, other people not on this committee will be voting on it also, they may want to ask you
Okay.
some questions, so. But you'll have an answer tonight,
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we have the carnival stuff. You gonna speak on that? Well, just discussing, Well, Nick had called me up and wanted to discuss the cars. Why don't you come up here? You got number 26 is the application fee. 27, the bond. And so is number 25A.
Right.
So,
What do you want to discuss about it? What's?
Well, apparently Nick discovered that they haven't been collecting the surety bond, is my understanding, and he sees that the code requires it.
Mhm.
So going for, you've got a couple options, either require the surety bond, I don't know how many are out there right now that they haven't collected, either require them, or for the ones that have already been approved without, waive it, and then maybe going forward, either amend the ordinance and not require the surety bond, or require the surety bond. So it's just to be consistent with what the ordinance states essentially, and then dealing with the ones that are out there right now that apparently haven't been provided. And maybe putting a provision on the application that would indicate that they're requesting an exemption and the reason why, like there's.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Wag.
do we have an idea what the surety bond, it's not a set fee, I mean, it depends, typically they buy a policy from their insurance company. No, they're posting the bond?
This is an actual physical
Bond.
money that they give to us to manage.
Oh, okay.
Not
And what's the amount? Is it 10K, or is it
5,000.
5,000? So they have to put up $5,000, and if they don't have any problems, they get the $5,000 back.
Right.
That's
Well,
what this
it's,
is about.
it's a cash bond or the surety bond. It looks like they have the option.
Okay.
Mhm.
But the surety bond would be like, you'd buy a bond from their insurance company for like a couple $100, right?
I believe.
I'm not familiar with surety bonds, but it's not. If you're thinking of like a certificate of liability insurance, that is
No,
different.
that's different.
Okay.
No, this would be like a performance bond.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
developer's performance bond.
Yeah, it's a surety company that issues it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they do that for a fee, on the assumption that and what are we asking them to guarantee that they do? Not leave a mess when they're gone, or?
Well, Mr. Chair, if you might, Cheryl, me, and Nick all met together about this, and part of the reason of bringing this to you is asking you guys why we have this ordinance, because we were kind of unsure what the history was behind this. It's kind of, I don't want to say useless, but there's not a lot of things that happen that we would be able to collect on a surety bond or cash bond.
So if there was a carnival or something similar and something happened where police had to be called in and provide extra service, would that go towards offsetting the cost of the police, for example? Not sure.
Don't know.
Not sure.
This is new.
You know, there must have been a
That's the first thing
reason.
that came to my mind.
Yeah, there
is-
must be a reason for it, that it covers, you know, I'm guessing if there was damage to property, maybe damage to city property from people that have gathered, and
If they are
the whole-
encroaching into city property, they are required to provide insurance coverage for that certificate of liability. So that's different. So we have that part covered. This is what happens on their own private property.
Oh.
It's just been discussed with
You know,
Scott.
like church festival?
Right.
You don't know?
um,
But Scott's been around a long time.
right,
Maybe he
it's
knows.
been around, it's just, I think that just recently Nick, you know, being
Yeah.
new in this area, has discovered that here's the
Well-
ordinance and it's
Mr. Chair?
being.
Alderman Wag.
I do know of a case in the Milwaukee suburbs where there was a circus act with elephants, and they left elephant waste behind that was expensive to dispose of. Is that the kind of thing that this would take care of?
I
No one
see.
knows.
Is that the kind of thing that may have triggered it? I'm just going by what I remember.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Chair.
Alderman.
Yeah, and given that we've never enforced this, never done this, never collected this bond, we don't even know necessarily what that bond is for, I would suggest, if I can get the consensus of the committee, to direct staff to just amend the ordinance to remove this requirement for these events. Because we haven't been doing it all along.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
The alternative would be if we wanted to get a little more information to find out exactly what the surety bonds do protect, rather than getting rid of it offhand and.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that, you know.
So hold it.
We're just gonna hold that, so it'd be 25A and B, 26 and 27 and 28.
And so are we directing staff to collect bonds from these applicants?
It's up to you
That's
right
well-
now. The ones that are pending, you know, that's where you could say, you know, can waive it until
yeah.
it's,
Resolved.
or,
How many do we have out
I
there?
believe there's
Two,
two out there, yeah.
Which ones? IHM, they completed theirs, right?
I mean,
It's on today's.
Two that we're gonna be approving, or?
I don't,
Mr. Chair?
I don't know off the top of my head. Find
But
that
the,
out.
the food truck events, they're all insured, right, for the market?
right,
Okay.
they would be insured. That's
Or whatever the,
different.
the liability,
That's-
that's different
that's a
issue.
different-
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
But,
Yeah,
yeah, Sally would know that, answer that question.
Mr. Chair, I would suggest we should not collect this on these upcoming events. It hasn't been our practice. We can use our discretion to direct staff to continue their concurrent practice.
Anyone
Which
that
is
we
not
have now, even though we haven't done anything with it yet, so, okay.
I think for the rest, for the applications that have come in, you're saying?
Yeah.
So far?
And even until we change this in the future applications as well, we need to treat people the same. We haven't been doing this. We haven't been enforcing our ordinance. We're going to change our ordinance to reflect what our current policy is.
Maybe,
Best
maybe not.
practice.
Maybe, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
All the way.
I guess my concern would be like, if there's a mess left on private property, or I think these are typically church properties, that's gonna be on them.
right.
But if it spills over into the public right of way, literally, again, using the elephant waste issue, you know,
Right.
I think it would behoove us to protect the taxpayers and do it consistently, I get that, but, yeah. Any of these operations that are big enough, I mean, these are typically carnivals that have rides,
Right.
and I don't think a refundable, it's essentially a $5,000 deposit, right? So it's like if nothing bad happens, they get the $5,000 back, but if we have some public works expenses or police expenses, you know, I mean, if that's what this is for,
Right.
and I guess that's what we need to know, so I
Right.
guess staff needs to look into that and find that answer.
There's also one more thing I just wanted to mention. Coming down the pipeline, there's me and a member of the health department are working on a special event permit, which would effectively replace a carnival permit, and there are provisions in there regarding insurance coverage. So that might even take care of this whole issue in the end. Don't know how quick we're going to get to that. We got a couple other things in the pipeline, but just want to let you know that that's coming down.
So we'll wait to hear from you, but
Yeah.
overall, anybody that comes up, we're gonna do what we've been basically doing, past practice, and we're just going to not charge them for it,
But we'll have an answer within 6 months.
Yes.
okay? Okay, let's move on to item number 29. This is a special event for Tap City.
Move
I'll move
approval
approval.
subject to, sorry, go ahead.
I'll move approval subject to necessary
And I'll
requirements.
second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Then we have, let's see, Kegels. This is the August event.
I'll move approval subject to necessary requirements.
Second,
1 second.
you
This
can
is-
mark down the approval in a second.
Okay. Approval in a second. Okay. And once again, subject necessary requirements. Okay, this is the event where they wanna close on National Avenue. Basically, let's see,
Mr. Chair?
Wagon.
I was at the meeting where we talked about this,
Right.
and I think the current plan, and I see the applicant is here, is to close National Avenue at 10 a.m. on the Friday until something like 10 p.m. on the Sunday. So it's a 3-day event, 3-evening event. I think the state of Wisconsin has to sign off on it. I'm not sure if they have yet. And I see the city engineer is nodding his head no, and I'm wondering if you know when that would happen? No, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, but we talked about the traffic flow around it, you know. Realize that National Avenue is closed completely and has been, will be for 6 months from 70th to 76th due to the road construction. This is, you know, so I guess people are used to some diversions in the area. I was actually in favor of maybe making it just a 2-day event, but the real concern I think was that Friday morning rush hour traffic. So,
Friday morning?
the Friday morning, yeah.
May I?
You would,
I've also agreed to provide at least the financial support to have police coverage for Friday night traffic mitigation, because there's this brewery game that lets out, so that'll need some, and then during rush hour traffic, that 60th Greenfield National Conjunction to help just mitigate some of the traffic flow through there.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
over, man.
I was going to mention the Brewers play Pittsburgh that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there would be a lot of traffic letting out this way.
But they're all driving back to Pittsburgh.
They're all going
Well,
to Campbell's anyway, right?
You know, and I had asked, is anybody with an opinion from the police department, what they thought? And I-
But
They're on board of doing it? Okay. And you originally had some problems with it?
Oh, it's a busy street.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know that.
It's your district.
Well, that was, see, the thing about it is that there is gonna be traffic movement there going to the House of Blind there, or what they call it, and the church.
Correct.
So, it just, I would hate to have anything horrible happen.
Yep.
You know, and that's the only thing. I think it's a good idea, but I just
So
think
the
that,
majority of the
I think it's
festival
dangerous.
will allow for easements for both of those from 58th respectively to the church and 60th into the center for the blind.
And all the rest of the committee? Really?
Is there an MCTS route that goes that way too? Milwaukee County Transit's been informed.
Lots of detour that too. Probably down 43rd Street to Greenfield.
And DOT doesn't have anything going on with the opening of the interchange around this
No.
time? No special detours on this route?
Detours are off.
And so where's the traffic gonna divert, 58th Street
Well,
or?
we'll have to get permission from West Milwaukee too, to go down 43rd Street and come down Greenfield.
Well, but anybody coming up National is,
Yeah, we
and
don't-
then say they're gonna be using all the side
No,
streets
we
and
don't
all the
wanna-
numbers.
We don't wanna encourage them to use
No.
56, 57, 58, but we're gonna try and catch them way back at the Miller Parkway to go down and get onto Greenfield.
Oh,
No? Yeah.
We closed National 2 years ago to do some sewer work, so we're using the same detour.
And we closed it for a short period of time, a couple of years ago too.
Yep.
You
That
know,
was just on a Sunday.
Right,
That was for my dad's slow roll.
right.
So now we're, instead of closing for 2 weekends separately a month apart, we're joining forces and doing one build out for the festival for the entire weekend. So,
Okay.
Is there a carnival permit?
Carnival permit? Will there be elephants?
if you want.
No.
No,
I do have one more question.
Owen, me?
Usually when we close a residential street, we require 50% of the property owners to give concurrence on that street.
Oh, 59th Street, they're closing is, what, 4?
59th is a shoe-in. They've signed it every year. They did
Okay.
again this
Yeah.
year. And then
That would be a
with
necessary
National,
requirement.
I've got the church, the 3 business owners, the chiropractor, appliance store, Father Jean's, and
Okay.
members who live in the residence of the Center for the Blind, all said yes.
Thank you for doing your homework. That's excellent.
And the public table will be open by then, right?
Yeah, that's kind of hopefully the grand opening for Public Table is that Friday night kickoff for the free beer, free,
What? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this issue? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Good luck. Okay, then we have, item number 31.
Move for approval, subject to necessary requirements, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 31A is on the supplemental agenda.
Move approval, subject to any necessary
Second.
requirements.
Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And then we have a very thick, number 32.
Move approval subject to necessary requirements.
These are license, yes.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, there's one more item that was on this special
Yeah, we were-
agenda, the contiguous property, I think 25, the second one on there.
B. Get my eyes checked.
25B. Okay. Discussion in regard to temporary extension of license for which,
This was on the special.
Oh,
no, it doesn't give a property here.
oh, right here.
No, this isn't, this is a general
This
discussion.
is in general
Oh.
for extended premises.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay, back again. This came up as an issue potentially with the à la carte, with the temporary extensions, and apparently Urban Joe's did have a temporary license out that would have covered the additional tent. In reading the ordinance again, it requires to get that temporary extension or the permit, they have to be contiguous to the licensed premises, meaning directly in front, or, you know, maybe a rope walkway or whatever. And our thought was that one of the tents didn't have that, apparently a different, I guess Urban Joe's took out a license for the other tent. But it raised the issue of if you wanna have, continue to have that.
Thought we had this discussion for,
This is my fault.
it was your fault.
Surprise, surprise. When we were looking, Donnie Falk called me, he says, I don't have a bartender, licensed bartender from 3 till 6. And he goes, is that gonna be an issue? And I said, I think so, but let me call. And so the discussion started, and I said, our licensed bartender, would it cover him, because it's the contiguous portion, but it is out of sight, et cetera. And the answer came on that, and I knew the answer, but I wanted to hear it, was no, you have to have a licensed bartender at that tent. Then the question came to me, is that tent also under the same license that you're under? And I said, I think so. I think they just have one. I know Marty pulls his own, and I said, but I think there's only one. And it, oh, that's illegal, you can't do that. I didn't realize that Urban Joe's pulled out the license for the other tent, which then makes it legal. However, the discussion on this, and I think it's great, is a la carte is what's the word I would use, is sealed all the way around with barricades. So it is one contiguous festival. Can't there just be a license, and I don't know the legal part of that, that covers everybody that's in there, as long as you're within the grounds of the marked off area with barricades, etc.? Or does every single one have to have their own little separate license?
Right, see.
That also came up during our discussion between me, Cheryl, and Nick. An idea, and most places do it this way, they have a bona fide club or organization take out a temporary, one of the picnic beer licenses, wine licenses to cover that area. And then if individual bars wanted to have areas out in their front, then they could extend out, but it can't be the same premises. But usually these events are done by some sort of bona fide club or organization. And in this case, it's the bid. There's room for discretion as to whether or not the bid is, and the attorneys are reviewing that.
Okay.
Our, the statute specifically states like a chamber of commerce, which we no longer have, so our interpretation was that the bid wouldn't work. But this was your language, again, the council, contiguous, you could say, licensed premises must be within
500
100 feet, 500 feet, you could make it, you know, give more
Is that-
latitude.
But that would be for every single bar in the city then, or would it be just for this event?
Well, we could say just in the C1, you could do it by
One-
C1 only.
one-
in the bid district.
One issue you got to watch out for is people can't share licensed premises.
Yes.
So you can't have overlapping.
Mr. Chair.
Oh,
As to Alderman Barzak's point, I would not want to extend my licensed premises to a 6-block area, because then I, as the licensee, am responsible for everything that goes on there. And if there's two 14-year-old kids that shoplifted a 6-pack of beer from the liquor store and they're getting, they're technically speaking, they're on my licensed premises. So as a license, the license is a valuable thing, and it comes with responsibilities, and I understand that. That's why I would not want to have my business's license extended to the whole area. So, but the continuity thing, I understand, and it makes sense, or contiguousness, that it's connected to or very nearby, yeah.
Okay.
A year ago, Crimson Club wasn't there, it was closed.
Yeah.
And so the same exact tent ran off of Steakhouse 100's license, which is clearly a block away. So I mean, that one could have probably been, now that Crimson Club's open, and that's pretty close. I mean, you're within, I don't know what the feet is.
Well, the application, again, in the application, my premises extension ran from my front door of my business down to the sidewalk and then opened up to a big area. So you could walk from within my licensed area at Benno's down the sidewalk and into the.
And this would have been exactly the same.
Yes.
So going forward, you guys should really be looking more at the details of these events and approving those plans, and well, especially with like regular retail licenses, the written premises description, which you'd have to do to extend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're gonna have some better information to get to the committee to review and vote on. So you actually see where everything is laid out, and we'll work with like the bid.
The committee did see that. So the committee did see that Urban Joe's took out the license for that tent, Crimson Club took out the license for that tent, and Marty Weidel took out the license for that tent. So the committee knew it, I didn't. And when I called Cheryl, I think that's where the problem came in, and she asked me, and I went, I don't know. I think we're all on one license, except for Marty. I know Marty pulled his own out. I said, but I think the other two are on one, but I'm not sure. I found out later that indeed Urban Joe's pulled the license for the other 10. So they were legal. And I think in the future for a la carte, that same thing will happen, where it'll continue to be that same way.
Steve, Mr. Chair.
Oh,
Hey, Steve, what you're saying is draw out on a map. So anyone who asks, you can hand them a map, and here's the premise.
Well, the thing I told you about earlier, this special event permit, also might take care of issues like this. This way you get a feel for the entire event and everything that's going to happen within that event.
I also believe Marty actually had a physical map hanging at his booth.
I just had the pink license. It did not, your regular license has a map, but your premises description map on the back of it for your regular, every year, your annual. But the temporary did not have a map.
All right. Okay, I was told you did.
No, I had mine posted, but I just had mine posted. There was no map on the back.
What is a community event? What is declaring a community event? Isn't that for same thing?
No, there's a different.
What is that difference? I guess
if I could, Mr. Chair.
Please.
You're not allowed to walk down the street of West Allis or most communities with an open and beer in your hand. That's against the law. So the community event, as I understand it, stems back from the Western days, specifically the parade, that it was described as a community event, so that allowed alcohol consumption on the streets. That doesn't allow for the sale necessarily. You still need a premises extension.
Sale.
But it would allow somebody to buy a beer, an unopened beer at a liquor store, and walk outside and open up and drink it, or maybe bring a mixed drink from home and drink it on the street.
Okay.
That's what that's my understanding of the community event. So it just allows people to consume alcohol in public.
Not sell it.
Well, the selling, someone has to apply for a license then.
Correct.
Okay. So we're gonna be working on this also.
Oh, you're going to be busy.
If you want it changed, I mean, right now it just requires it to be contiguous, which apparently it wasn't an issue.
Yeah, maybe
Correct.
maybe
It
100
actually was
feet.
not an
It turned
issue.
out not to be.
Yeah, maybe 100 feet. I don't know.
And or somehow to get it underneath an event where the bid could apply for the license.
Or you allow committee exceptions.
Yeah, could we allow, in this case, as you said, we don't have a chamber of commerce.
Right. The
Could
statute lists.
The state
excuse me.
statute list, but the list doesn't list like fraternal organizations and all
Bona
sorts of
fide
things?
clubs, organizations, church societies, fraternal organizations.
Bona fide
Chamber
club,
of
what does that
Commerce.
mean? What does bona fide club mean?
That you didn't just create
bona
a fake
fide.
club
The Benno
for,
Club.
just for
Yeah.
this event.
Like a,
Um,
a women's club maybe,
Lions
or
Club.
Rotary.
Lions.
Okay, I'm a member of a mountain bike club, okay, 20 years we've been around, is that a bona fide club? Guess what, the bikers will be selling beers.
I've got questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have anything else on this? Okay.
Great.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
All right.
opposed? We are
Thanks,
adjourned.
And Administration and Finance will come to order. All 5 members are present. Item number 4 is a joint referral with Public Works. It's a request from the Director of Public Works to extend a temporary appointment of Dave Young.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And item 5 is a resolution approving the terms and conditions for an economic development loan to Antigua Latin Restaurant LLC under the National Avenue Commercial Corridor In-Store Forgivable Loan Program in the amount of $50,000.
Move approval.
So I have a motion from Alderman Weigel and a second from Alderman May. Patrick's here. Do we want to talk about it, or are we all good about this?
And also the owners of the restaurant.
And the owners of the restaurant are here too in back. Hello. Thank you.
I don't have any
I think we're
questions.
very familiar.
I think we're
already.
very familiar. Thank you, Alderman May. I agree. All right, then, no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 6, communication from city administrator requesting approval of a vacant position of principal engineer.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Chaplewski, second from Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 7, communication from city administrator requesting approval to fill a vacant position of maintenance repairer.
Move approval.
Motion from Alderman Weigel, second from Alderman May. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And that's it for our agenda.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
What were you guys here for?